This piece of tree bark contains the exact same pain-relieving compound that's in these expensive pills. But here's what gets me fired up. Pharmaceutical companies have spent decades making sure you don't know this simple truth. In the next 8 minutes, I'm going to show you why they desperately want to keep this ancient remedy buried. And by the end, you'll understand exactly how to use this knowledge yourself. What you're looking at isn't just bark from a tree. This is nature's original aspirin, and it's been relieving pain for over 4,000 years. Long before laboratories and patents and billion-dollar marketing campaigns, our ancestors knew something that modern medicine tries to make you forget. The active compound in willow bark is called salicin, and your body converts it into the exact same pain-relieving substance found in aspirin. But here's where this story gets interesting, and why certain industries really don't want you paying attention. Picture this scenario. You're living thousands of years ago and you've got a splitting headache. What do you reach for? Your ancestors didn't have corner pharmacies, but they had something arguably better. They had willow bark. Ancient Egyptians, Greeks, and Native Americans all independently discovered that chewing willow bark or brewing it into tea provided remarkable pain relief. This wasn't superstition. This was genuine medical knowledge passed down through generations. Now fast forward to the 1800s. Scientists finally isolated salicin from willow bark, proving what indigenous cultures had known all along. But then something fascinating happened. Instead of celebrating this natural remedy, the scientific community immediately set about creating synthetic versions. Why? Because you can't patent a tree. You can't own nature, but you can patent a synthetic compound that mimics nature's design. This is where the story takes a turn that should make every consumer pause and think. The pharmaceutical approach isn't necessarily about finding the best solution for human health. It's about finding the most profitable solution. And natural remedies, no matter how effective, simply don't fit that business model. They're too accessible, too affordable, and too impossible to monopolize. But here's what really opened my eyes about this whole situation. When I started researching the actual effectiveness of willow bark compared to synthetic alternatives, I discovered something that completely changed how I think about pain relief. When you take synthetic aspirin, you're getting a concentrated, isolated compound that hits your system fast and hard. It's like using a sledgehammer when you might need a precision tool. Willow bark, on the other hand, contains not just salicin, but a whole complex of complementary compounds that work together synergistically. This is what herbalists call the entourage effect. The idea that nature designs healing compounds to work as complete systems, not isolated chemicals. Think about it this way. Imagine if someone took all the individual notes that make up your favorite song and played them separately. You'd have all the same components, but you'd lose the beautiful harmony that makes music actually work. That's essentially what happens when we isolate single compounds from complex plants. Willow bark also tends to be gentler on your digestive system. While synthetic aspirin can cause stomach irritation and ulcers with regular use, willow bark's natural buffering compounds help protect your stomach lining. It's like nature built in its own safety mechanism. Now, I'm not saying willow bark is always the perfect solution for everyone. Different approaches work for different people and different situations. But what frustrates me is that most people don't even know this option exists. They've never been given the chance to make an informed choice because certain industries benefit from keeping these alternatives in the shadows. The real power here isn't just about pain relief. It's about understanding that you have more options than you've been told. It's about recognizing that effective solutions don't always come from the most expensive, most heavily marketed sources. Now let's get practical. If you're interested in exploring willow bark for yourself, here's exactly how to prepare it safely and effectively. The traditional method is creating a decoction, which is basically a strong tea made by simmering the bark. Start with about 1 to 2 teaspoons of dried willow bark per cup of water. You want to use the inner bark, not the rough outer bark. Look for pieces that are reddish-brown with a slightly bitter smell. Place the bark in cold water and bring it to a gentle simmer. This is important. You don't want a rolling boil, which can destroy some of the beneficial compounds. Let it simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes until the water takes on a reddish-brown color. Strain out the bark pieces and let it cool to a comfortable drinking temperature. The taste is quite bitter. Think of it as nature's way of letting you know it's medicine, not a casual beverage. Many people add honey or lemon to make it more palatable. For general pain relief, traditional use suggests drinking 1 cup of this tea 2 to 3 times daily. But here's something crucial. Start with smaller amounts to see how your body responds. Everyone's different, and what works for one person might need adjustment for another. You can find quality willow bark at health food stores, online retailers, or even harvest it yourself if you have access to willow trees and know how to identify them properly. Just make sure you're getting bark from the right species. White willow is the most commonly used variety. The key thing to remember is that natural remedies work differently than synthetic drugs. They often take longer to show effects, but they also tend to provide more sustained, gentle relief without the harsh side effects. Before I show you where to get quality willow bark, I want to address something important. This information represents thousands of years of traditional knowledge, but it's not meant to replace professional medical advice. Here's what this all comes down to. Knowledge is power, but only when you actually use it. Every time you choose to explore natural alternatives, you're taking back control of your own health decisions. You're refusing to accept that expensive synthetic solutions are your only option. This isn't about being anti-medicine or anti-science. This is about being pro-choice and pro-knowledge. It's about understanding that nature has been providing effective solutions long before corporate laboratories existed. And those solutions haven't suddenly stopped working just because they can't be patented. The pharmaceutical industry depends on you believing that effective health solutions must be complex, expensive, and available only through their systems. But sometimes the most powerful remedies are growing right outside your window. When you start exploring natural alternatives like willow bark, you join a community of people who refuse to accept artificial scarcity in healthcare. You become someone who asks questions instead of just accepting marketing messages. That willow tree in your local park? It's been quietly providing pain relief for centuries, completely unaware of stock prices or marketing campaigns. It just does what it does, naturally, effectively, and without asking for anything in return except a little respect and understanding. If this opened your eyes to possibilities you didn't know existed, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that challenges conventional thinking about health and wellness. Drop a comment telling me, what natural remedy are you most curious about exploring? And if you try willow bark tea, I want to hear about your experience. Your story might help someone else discover their path to natural wellness. Next week, I'm revealing another ancient remedy that modern medicine tried to bury.